start passing these out like you did in grade school. Okay. Like the slide says, this is a sneaky way of showing one of my recent vacations and talking a bit about how to help people interact and how you guys were all newbies once too. Yeah. But first of all, I would like to announce a geek fire sale tomorrow afternoon at the West Norwood Yellow Box. It is my storage locker when I had to leave the UK due to some immigration issues, so I should be safe.
So you moved the bag.
What's that?
He moved the bag.
Yeah, I almost didn't get here today as well after spending about 20 minutes in the little room in the back of Heathrow. But we won't talk about that. At least not without rubber gloves. Okay, as we say here, the Yamaha is almost brand new, as is most of the stuff actually. It didn't get much use. The blade are helicopters. If you're hopefully you know what zone tool is, it's just a construction kit. Basically anything that is there that is not Lego, or my collection of twisty puzzles, or one particular wooden puzzle I like, it is going. So now on to talk, and the reason why I'm even passing these out. This was my first day at. It's deliberately a little outhill. This is the chartreuse distillery outside the Yonge, so it's leaning just a little bit, and I couldn't figure out how to correct the image time for this. So turn the laptop. It doesn't work. Okay. Now, I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey to another convention, much like this one, where people, much like you guys, sit around and talk. Much like you guys, we talk about modules, we talk about algorithms. This is the first module to play with. If anyone here actually does origami, they may recognize the water bomb base. The idea is, on one of those sheets of paper, you can fold this. The goal here, and I have staples with me, is to get to the base for a turkey. I don't expect anyone to get this far, but this is just a proof of concept to show, to hopefully get you guys in the mindset of beginners. Because when I got to this convention, literally this was all that we had to work with. They gave us a diagram for a workshop, much like this. Well, actually a little more like this. And I did these by the way on the plane, and for the final one, I actually can do this fold in roughly 5 minutes. But that's of course because I know what's going on, and most of you folks probably don't have any idea. But it does break down into modules. These sections here, on this side are all modules. This middle here is also a module. This is standard origami talk that you get around the roosters. And the algorithms, of course, are figuring out exactly how to fold. Wow. Thank you.
Back to the other picture if you want anyone to fold it.
Yeah.
I'm not folding that.
I couldn't download the rest, unfortunately, on the plane. Remove. But the catch here is that no one tells you, say, where this line is, what relationship that is. That you have to figure out yourself. Much like you have to figure out how to use the model in Pro 5. So again, and I will show you again afterwards. This is the full base. And this I can do again in about 5 minutes time. And And if you want to see that later, we'll pass that over. Trying to figure out what this basic filter line is. It actually is really simple. Much like how, say, how loose a supervised rope. If you ignore, say, these lines, ignore that line, ignore those lines, put them all there on a paper, like a desk, like Chrome does, where you have to go through and update and refactor with comment out this line, comment out that one. It's all there, like I figured out what it is within the desk. This will eventually, and I could not get it downloaded due to having no Wi-Fi here, this eventually ends up being a turkey. with frilly wings, and if someone wants to see the full diagram, it's on my Facebook page somewhere, and I'm about to go.
All right, hello. My goal is to stay awake long enough to get this talk. So Perl 6, you've been hearing a lot about Perl 6 this week, today, because we're getting Perl 6 for Christmas. This Christmas. I would have put a Santa hat on Camellia, but we have no Wi-Fi. But how do you use Perl? You've heard a lot about features of Perl and what Perl 6 can do, but the documentation, there is a lot of documentation for Perl 6. doc.perl6.org will show you that documentation. But there could be a lot more documentation. There is stuff that isn't documented yet, and this is of course because, and of course there can always be more documentation. The reason is it's software. So people writing Perl 6 and making Perl 6 greatly outnumber the people who are writing down how you use Perl 6. And, but the thing is, you don't need to really understand the internals and all the details to write documentation. How do I know this? I personally, at this year's YAPS-ENA, sat through a talk on Perl 6 and said, hey, this looks kind of interesting. It looks like we're at a place where you can really use Perl 6. So what did I do? I attempted to port test more to Perl 6. And the first thing that I came across was caller. And hang on, there is no caller in Perl 6. What do you do? Well, enter freenode Perl 6. Pound Perl 6, incredibly helpful people working on Perl 6, making Perl 6 work. By the way, that's call frame if you're looking for caller. It does things a little differently, but it's still all there. And I, of course, proceeded to go berserk and rewrite several of the major Perl 5 doc pages for Perl 6, saying, this is how you do this Perl 5 thing in Perl 6. And they, thinking that like Earth, I am mostly harmless, said, yes, have a commit bit. Go for it. And so I did. And so we now have 5 to 6 documents for Perl Func, Perl Ops, or Perl Sim, Perl Var. Yeah, things like, you know, that dot you used to use for concatenation, no, that's no good anymore. Use tilde. So you can contribute too, because you can do many things to help the documentation for Perl 6. As I say, there are many people working on Perl 6, but people are trying to get Perl 6 out the door. And that means some of the documentation is falling by the wayside. Not to a great extent, but there's stuff that could be better explained. You can go into the Perl 6 documentation and write examples. If there's something that seems unclear, come up with an example that explains what this thing does and how this explanation plays out in Perl 6. Currently, there are about 127 things that are to do in the Perl 6 documentation, where it literally says, here's a function, and blank. Well, actually it says comment to do, because I went through and said, oh, there's no documentation here, here's a to do. So there are 127 things that you can try to document. There's a fact. You can add new facts, come up with new facts, come up with answers. I'm seriously considering looking to look at the old Perl cookbook and see if we can do a 1 minute. And maybe we can start building a cookbook for Perl 6, giving new ways of doing common tasks. If you know another language, like I did the 5 to 6 translations, if you know JavaScript or Ruby or whatever, you like that, maybe there are things in those languages that can be done in Perl 6 a slightly different way, that you can write a guide for that. So basically, in short, working together and everyone contributing a little bit, we can make more documentation for Perl 6 and make it easier for people to use. So if you are interested in doing that, even if you can just do a few things here and there, that would be incredibly helpful. It's all on GitHub at GitHub. This github.com/perl6/doc. You can fork it and submit Perl requests, or you can just walk into Pound Perl 6 on Freenode and go, hey, I want to do some work. And they'll probably go, great, here's a commit bit. So every little bit helps. So if you would, try and do a little bit of documentation and
So, hi everyone, I'm Mickey, working at Booking. I wanted to talk about a cool project I've been working on the last few months at work. It's an open source project, it's on GitHub, and it's co-authored by Stephen Lill and Brian Fraser. It will soon be on CPAN. We are currently sprinting to release it. It is basically an implementation of the JSON API spec in Perl. If you're not familiar with it, please check it out. It's a spec that defines REST APIs. It's basically defining how servers and clients should exchange information